From WFRV TV, Local 5, serving Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Fox Cities, and the Lakeshore. This is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. A very personal Newsmaker Sunday this morning. Many longtime fans of the Green Bay Packers will remember Lou Carpenter. Lou was a running back for the Packers in the 60s. He played on the 61 and 62 championship teams. He later became the Packers receivers coach under head coaches Bart Starr and also under head coach Forrest Gregg. He coached players like James Lofton and John Jefferson and Paul Kaufman. Lou Carpenter died in November of 2010 of what is generally referred to as dementia. His daughter Rebecca has produced a documentary about her father's battle with brain injury in a film called Requiem for a Running Back. It shines a light on the violence of the sport of football, the head injuries, the head trauma, the ensuing dementia, and death. Rebecca Carpenter joins us this morning from Los Angeles. Rebecca, good to see you this morning. So nice to have you with us.
Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for having me here.
Rebecca,
I appreciate it.
At the top of the show, I said this was a very personal Newsmaker Sunday, and that's because we want the viewing audience to know that Lou Carpenter was my father-in-law, and you, Rebecca Carpenter, were my sister-in-law at one time. So forgive me if I call you Becky at any time during this program, because that's all I've ever known you as, all right? What made you do this documentary? Why did you feel the need to do it?
Yeah. Originally, my friend Sarah D, who's one of the producers of the film, came to me after my father died, and we had gotten this sort of strange call out of the blue, asking if we would donate his brain. At that time, that is not supposed to happen. At that time, people weren't donating their brains to the brain bank. People were getting cold calls. If your loved one died and there was something on the AP wire that said, you died in New Braunfels, they'll find you. They would call you and say, will you donate your brain? As I said in the film, Dad hadn't had any concussions. So when we got these test results back saying he had extreme CTE, 4 out of 4, I was angry. And I was angry at the researchers, because I felt like they were making something up and they were attacking football. And I was tired of people trying to exploit football players for their own purposes. And so I was going to pick up a camera and hit the road and go find out what was really going on. And my friend Sarah D said she would produce it. So that was really how it started. So,
and this project, it is not just about your dad. You featured several NFL players and their wives and their families who essentially were telling you that this NFL stardom and all this glamour is sometimes hell in the background. What did they tell you about life with someone who had been hit over and over again?
Yeah, it was really interesting when I finally started meeting other families. It was so crazy how you could do this overlay, that there was sort of this weird temper would start in their 40s, just sort of like a hair trigger temper that they hadn't had before. And then there would be sort of mood regulation issues. Some of them were perceived to have drug and alcohol issues, but they didn't drink. One man in the film in particular was a teetotaler. And then this sort of slow memory loss and this sort of receding. What I would say is you start to live in the moment and there's no more meaning making going on. You're not creating new memories with this person anymore. You're just managing their temper and their moods. And that was really a common description of what was happening in these other families.
Mm-hmm. Rebecca, the executive producer of this documentary is a well-known name, Cody Gifford, son of Frank Gifford. Frank died of dementia. You interviewed Cody and Frank's wife, Kathy Lee Gifford, and both of them told their story. Is their story similar to yours?
Yeah, so Kathy Lee Gifford is Cody Gifford's mom. Kathy was married to Frank. And it was absolutely similar. I mean, it was eerily similar. And I met Cody because he'd come to a screening at the Semel Institute here in Los Angeles. And he watched the film and he said he just started weeping because he felt like he had finally seen his story there. And the film really wasn't done at that point. And so we started talking about it. And, and Cody had had a couple of concussions and he had to stop playing football because of the head injuries. So it was really, it was eerily similar. And Frank obviously was a household name. I mean, not only was he a football star, he was also a news anchor. I mean, he was a broadcast star as well. And his stardom really transcended football. And that's something that football can do for you. But at the same time, it did come at a cost. And Cody in particular was saying how he just felt like there were so many journeyman players and so many players who just really needed help and needed attention. And he really wanted to shine the light on those families.
We continue with Rebecca Carpenter and her documentary, Requiem for a Running Back, right after this. We are back now with Rebecca Carpenter and her documentary, Requiem for a Running Back, about her father, former NFL player and coach Lou Carpenter, who died of dementia. Rebecca, at the top of the show, I mentioned Lou Carpenter was my father-in-law. But in your documentary, Requiem for a Running Back, you introduced me to a Lou Carpenter that I didn't know, because to me he was easygoing, he was everybody's friend, the guy who had the dream job of being a Packers coach. But that's not who you grew up with. You saw the mood swings and violence and behavioral changes. Tell me what you and the family witnessed that I may not have.
Yeah, I think one of the things that happens is it's an amazing thing to be the child of a Packer. I cannot emphasize enough how cool it is to be part of the Packer family and to grow up in that and to be part of like the best team in the league. And it is still the best team in the league. But your private life is always it's really hard to keep your private life private. And when your father has sort of these, like you were saying, mood swings or sort of explosive temper, you feel like you need to keep it secret, right? Why? I don't know. Actually, now in retrospect, I think maybe it was also the times that we were living in weren't as forgiving, and we didn't have as much information about mental health as we do now, and the pressures even on coaches and players. I think that we did a really thorough job in the film of documenting the kinds of behaviors that families would live with. I think that sometimes when you have a loved one, for instance, who has a brain injury, not from football or from a car accident, perhaps, or a fall, or who has Alzheimer's or some other neurodegenerative disease, it's really similar. And one of the things I would really like to see us do is to take CTE and brain injury from football and bring it more firmly into the realm of brain injury and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, and talk about all of those together because they're so similar. The symptoms are similar, the behaviors are similar, and we don't have a cure for any of them right now. So yeah, that's my answer.
All right. Case in point, in the documentary, you bring up that you were 7 years old during one of Lou's tirades, and you hid in a closet. What happened? What was going on there?
I have thought about that so many times since then. That was 51 years ago. And boy, that is a memory that is just still so present day for me because it was so out of character for him. He was angry because we were giggling after bedtime. It just didn't match up. It just didn't match up to who he was. And he was just screaming and yelling and he was a running back. He was a big guy. So I just don't think there's a 7-year-old that has the tools for understanding how to deal with that. I think, my mom, as I said in the film, my mom met him when she was 15, and she had known this guy up until that point who was fun-loving and outgoing and hardworking and had this amazing work ethic. And it was just so out of character. It just wasn't who he was, and it wasn't how he was. He was hard-nosed, but he wasn't cruel and he wasn't mean. So this just was sort of a side of him that just didn't fit in.
Rebecca,
Just makes sense.
you and in the whole piece, you, your mother, your sisters, you were all brutally frank, brutally honest about what life was like. Was that tough to come out and do that in public?
Yes. Yeah. The first cut of the film, we weren't even in it. I was just interviewing, these amazing families, Penny and John Hilton, Mary Ann Easterling, Sam Pyle and her father, Mike, his wife, Candy, my friend, Sarah Naylor. The strange part was it started to become all too easy to find these other families who were living with this. And finally, the producer, Sarah, said, "You have to be in this film. This can't just be about you going and trying to find out that this diagnosis is real, that it's true that your father had it, using evidence from what other families experienced." He said, "You're going to have to go on camera and tell the truth yourself, and you're going to have to get your sisters and your mom to do it too." My mother was so private. She was just the most private person on the planet. So it was tough. It was tough. And we talked about it. And I did something that, you know, I wasn't comfortable with. It went completely against my nature, but I thought it was important to do because so many players were afraid to talk about what was going on. So many people felt like their jobs would be jeopardized or their careers would be jeopardized if they were honest with some of the things that they were experiencing. And when I started to encounter the amount of fear and secrecy that was going on, I thought this is going to be a mental health epidemic for the families, for the wives and the children, and these men too, because they don't have support systems for this. So ultimately, I felt like my dad, who was also an incredibly private person, as you know, I felt him with me. I felt doors open that and answers arriving, and I just felt like he was just so with me that I felt like we had his blessing to do something of service for these men he loved so much and the sport that gave so much to him.
When did you and your mom and your sisters kind of suspect something was wrong and that it maybe have been related to football?
Yeah. We knew something was wrong when we were still living in Green Bay. Around the time when Forrest Gregg had become the head coach, Dad started to have some behaviors that were just, Marianne Easterling said it, they just weren't consistent with his value, with the values that we recognized in him. And you can make up stories. You can say, well, they were losing. He didn't know how to be a loser. He didn't like being a loser, or, well, every marriage isn't perfect. And, or the kids are growing up and leaving. You can make up stories, which I wanted to do, about all kinds of reasons that would explain away, aberrant behaviors. It really wasn't until the pathology report came back after he died that everything just fell into place. And I sent it to a friend of mine who's a neurosurgeon, and he said, "Your dad knew. There is no way that he could have had this much brain damage and not known something was happening to him." And I just had so much more respect and admiration for him, realizing how he had managed it. And not suddenly I went from feeling mean and judgy as a daughter, like, why can't he do the things he used to do? Why is he forgetting this? Or, why is he slurring his words? Like, what's going on with him? To going, wow, he held it together and managed to get to my birthday party. He was at the wedding. He flew all the way here for a long weekend, right? Suddenly my lens shifted from he wasn't good enough to, oh my gosh, look how amazing he was with what he was dealing with. And that was such a gift. So.
We have much more to come with Rebecca Carpenter right after this, so please stay right there. We continue now with Rebecca Carpenter and her documentary about her NFL player dad, Lou Carpenter. I want to ask you about a couple of scenes that are in your documentary. One very moving scene, you sitting on a bed and you are crying. And to quote you, you say, "I'm sad he went through it alone without us knowing." What were you feeling there?
Shame,
Shame.
grief.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I abandoned him when he needed me most. That
There,
was it. Yeah.
all right, there's another scene, much different scene, this time at Boston University. You're in the lab with a brain expert, and here's this tray in front of you with a brain that is in sections, sliced up. Is that Lou?
Yes.
How did you do that? How did you stand there and look at your own father's brain?
I just felt like he was with me and he wanted me to be there and he wanted me to go on this journey and to learn the things that he hadn't been able to tell me when he was alive. And he was with me. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there you are. There you are in the lab and looking at the computer of your father when she's explaining the condition to you. Switch now to another part of your documentary. In the piece, you interviewed Lou's grandson, your nephew Parker, high school football player, and you asked him if he worried about head injuries and dementia, and especially after seeing what his grandfather went through. And he said no. Did that surprise you? Did that trouble you? What did you think when he said that?
Yeah, it didn't surprise me at all.
No.
Some people watch the film and they say, how did you say to him, you are not playing football? That's not who we are. That's not how we are. Also, his grandpa on his other side was also a professional football player. He played in the Canadian Football League.
This was Preston.
No, this was Shriver is his grandpa's last name. I think he went to might have gone to UT and then played in Canada. No, I mean, this isn't it's not about like not loving football. This is a family that loves football. I think that the thing is that my father wouldn't let Parker play tackle football when he was little. Dad did everything humanly possible to delay Parker playing football and to manage how he played football, because he felt like a lot of the coaches who were coaching at that younger level weren't teaching proper technique. So I think that the message I learned from Parker was really we have to change the culture of winning for these younger kids. Because a coach that needs to win is going to put a ninth grader who's concussed back in the game. That's the child whose brain needs to be protected the most. So.
And ironically, through all of this, as far as you know, your dad, Lou Carpenter, never had a concussion.
No. Yeah. One story I heard when I went on the road, everybody remembers Dave Hanner, Hog Hanner.
Yeah.
They played college football together. And I guess Dad tackled Hog one time in a scrimmage and was like really proud of himself because, Hog was huge. And
right.
Dad was like 6'1", 220, but Dave Hanner was like a big guy. And I guess Dave just walked up to him and like whomped him and like knocked Dad out cold. That's the only concussion that we ever knew. I mean, I assume that was a concussion that we ever knew that he had. But he started playing football in 7th grade, and he played both sides. And a lot of the data that we know now is there's sort of like a dose effect. And how I would describe that is if you have one cigarette, you're probably not going to start the sequence of events that's going to lead to lung cancer. But if you have 50,000 cigarettes, you probably are you are more likely to start that sequence of events that's going to lead to lung cancer.
That's how it's
And I think that was really the big thing that we learned, is that it wasn't concussions per se. It was these sort of subconcussive blows and the brain not recovering in between these subconcussive blows.
It was just cumulative. We are back to wrap up with Rebecca Carpenter right after this. So please stay right there. Back now with Rebecca Carpenter, her documentary Requiem for a Running Back about her dad, Lou Carpenter, who died of dementia. I've got a couple of minutes left. Rebecca, if people watching the program this morning want to get a copy of Requiem for a Running Back, how do they do that?
It's on Amazon and Hulu, Google Play, so you can find it on the internet. Also, we have a website, www.requiemforarunningback.com, and Requiem, Requiem.
Okay. What are you hoping the result is of this documentary for people who watch it? What was your goal?
Yeah. I think that I have two primary goals. I think the first one is, with what I know now, is please wait until ninth grade to play tackle football. There are a lot of great other options. You can play flag football, you can lift weights, you can run, you can get really fit, you can learn teamwork in all kinds of ways. But please wait until ninth grade so we can diminish that dose effect in terms of the blows to your head, the subconcussive blows. And secondly, I think it's really time that we move head injury in football into the category of head injury. It's like a head injury from a car accident or from epilepsy or from boxing. They're all head injuries, and these are degenerative diseases that come from repeat blows to the head.
And
let's not make it special just because it happened in football.
And with that, Rebecca, a riveting piece. You have peeled back a slice of the NFL that fans really don't know about. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Always good to see you. Nice to see you again. If you have a newsmaker in your town who you think we should have on this program, let us know about it. Send us an email at tips@wearegreenbay.com or message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us once again Sunday morning at 7. Until then, have a great day.